I've been thinking about
change.
Yeah, the thing that you said about our enemies no longer fearing us and our allies no longer trusting us.
That's right.
If we can't defend our allies and democracies in the Middle East and around the world, if we can defend the Ukrainian democracy, I don't see why we can't defend the Israeli democracy. The hypocrisy, the double standard, the foolishness is so on display, Robert.
I like the term Biden regime because it's really, I mean, they're almost thuggish, to be honest.
Yeah.
But look, I know we have a guest coming on, and I want to properly introduce him. So Jeff Berkowitz, the political chess master, someone I have known a long time, who is one of the most insightful, smartest guys in terms of DC politics and international politics that you're going to find. He is the chairman of Delve DC, which is a competitive intelligence firm and risk analytics firm, is joining us today because there's so much to talk to him about the elections, about the convention, about what's going on around the world.
We're going to pick his brain the whole show, y'all. It's going to be fabulous.
You'll pick his brain the whole show, and he'll still have a lot of brains left. So bring him on.
I love it. All right. Jeff, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. That's a lot of pressure, though.
So much pressure. So much.
Leave it to me to bring pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, it's with great pleasure that we introduce Jeff Berkowitz, founder, chairman of Delve, based out of DC, a competitive intelligence and risk analytics firm. And full disclosure, longtime friend, and we go back a long ways and have fought a lot of wars together. But when yours truly needs analytics analysis and needs to cut through the crap, Jeff Berkowitz is the guy I call because he's the smartest guy in the room. He just doesn't like to let you know he's the smartest guy in the room. Jeffrey, welcome to the
humility.
people.
Humility.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Enjoyed the monologue.
Well, good. You actually have to hear that. I think it's time for regime change. If they can call for Netanyahu, elections in Israel when they're on a war footing. Hey, we're not on a war footing. Well, we're being invaded on the southern border. Maybe it is a war footing.
Yeah. Why don't we have the election tomorrow?
Regime change. But I'm glad you're with us. Listen, there's so many things to talk about. And I know, Ericka, I'm going to let you jump first because I know we were talking about, this whole election, Trump versus Biden. 70% of the country wants a different candidate. You have a third party candidate, at least one. Well, you have probably three, right? You have RFK. I forget who the Green Party woman is against.
And then there's
Cornel West.
That guy.
And whatever. So help us make sense of all of this because there's questions about convention and replacing Biden. I mean, you put out something called the car crash article, which if people haven't seen it, they can go to your website, which is delvedc.com. So
yes.
What's going on in the presidential elections that we should be watching out for?
So welcome to the car crash election. We have two leaders. They each have their hand on the steering wheel and put firmly on the gas, flying down the highway. Just throwing chaos left and right. And most of America is sitting in the back of the car saying, "Please stop. Can we like." This Uber ride is not what we ordered. 1 star. But that's the most likely scenario. We've been saying this for well over a year. This is the base case is Trump versus Biden. There was very unlikely the way the parties are structured. It's very hard to undo to overcome an incumbent advantage, and you essentially have two incumbents on the ticket this time, which is a really interesting dynamic that we haven't seen in over 100 years, over 120 years.
When was the last time?
It was in the 1890s, and now I'm forgetting which former president ran. I think it was Harrison versus someone else. I'd have to look at it. I should have put it in my notes. But if you go to the car crash election article on our website, it goes in. It has the link. It has the details on that. But we really, in the modern era of politics, we've never seen an incumbent president versus another essentially incumbent president, and so much is priced in to people's views on these candidates. Usually, typically, I know I was on President Bush's reelection campaign in 2004. Robert knows all about this. If you look at his playbook against Kerry, Obama's playbook against Romney, the way an incumbent wins re-election is you define the challenger before the challenger can define your time as president. People already kind of have a sense of what they think about a president. Our re-election slogan that President Bush said in every single stump speech that I heard 100+ times throughout the campaign was, "You may not always agree with me, but at least you know where I stand." Right? And it was an implicit contrast to John Kerry, who's a flip-flopper. Obama did the same sort of thing with Mitt Romney and his wealth and the private equity deals where, workers weren't always the winners in those deals, and pushed him away from those sort of swing voters. One, there's a lot less swing voters than there used to be. Two, most of them are not satisfied with the options they'll have in November. They're just going to stay home. This is going to be a nasty election campaign that is entirely focused on each party turning out their base.
So, Jeff, you said that there are less and less swing voters. Can you say more about that?
Yeah, even though fewer voters are affiliating explicitly with one of the two major parties,
right?
Voters are more and more that actually turn out. High and medium propensity voters are more likely to be among one of the tribes, right? We've become very tribal in our politics now. Less rationality. A smart person, one has told me many times, people make choices with emotions and justify them with rationality. That's a great explanation of some of our politics today.
Yes.
And so most people who are actually going to turn out and vote in the election, which I think will be one of the lower turnouts in modern history, they've already made up their minds. It's really a question of how many of these folks can each side get to the polls.
That is such a good point, because this is the first time in my life where I hear everyone, right, left, and center, complaining about the government, saying that they hate the government. The people on the left, Democrats, progressives, they do not like Joe Biden. There are tons of people on the right, conservatives, they do not like Donald Trump. Everyone is unhappy that we're having a replay of 2020.
Yeah, but that's what we got. America, Hollywood has no new ideas. They just do retreads, and now they joke Washington is Hollywood for ugly people, and we're just following suit, right with Hollywood. No new ideas.
Okay, so what are we seeing as far as so you said the high propensity voters, so you think it's going to be low turnout, only like the ride or die team people are going to show up to vote. So how does that wash out in the end? What are the statistics? Oh, go ahead. No, finish.
It's going to be a margin of error election.
Well, so you think it's going to be within the margin of error? Does it still turn on? I've said to people, it turns on probably 7 states, right? I mean, the election is going to turn. We know the states, right? Let's count them, right? There's Georgia,
Michigan,
there's Michigan, there's Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Arizona, Nevada. Maybe I'm missing one somewhere, but
that's a good list.
Yeah, all the other states might as well just stay home and not vote, right? I mean, because it's going to be. There's no chance of California voting red, and there's no chance of Texas or Florida voting blue. It's just not happening, right? So
that's right. Yeah, a lot of these states are fairly priced in at this point. Even Ohio, that used to be a battleground state, has become increasingly red, which is going to be interesting for the Senate race out there this year if Sherrod Brown can overcome those odds. But other than that, a lot of it's priced in, and you're seeing the Democrats understand this, and they are pulling something forward from the 04 playbook for reelection, which is ballot initiatives, right? Can you find these issue questions you can put on the ballot? They're putting a big abortion rights ballot initiative on a number of states, including Arizona, that will help drive turnout on their side. And push folks out to the polls, even if they're not thrilled with the options at the top of the ticket.
That's smart, because we both know, being creatures of habit, people come to the polls, they're going to generally either fill out, up ticket or down ticket. If they come out, if there's a passion point issue and they come to the polls, they're going to vote along the line, even though the issue that drove them may not be any of the candidates.
Yep.
That is
So here's my question. Let's now wade into the world of what ifs, right? Because there's this. The last thing I heard is that Governor Christie, is the latest one to flirt with no labels, possibly running. I mean, Manchin said no, Haley said no, a couple others, said no along the way. There's this whole RFK candidacy, which frankly he's polling quite well. Look, I think the last time.
Is there a chance? Oh,
well,
sorry, Robert.
No, this is a conversation. It's I grew up in a Jewish household. You have to interrupt this, to survive. It's just the way it is.